I personally feel like I don't have religion, I don't have a religious moral structure, so there has to be some way of how do I live my life, how do I treat people, you know? I need to figure out how to live, how to get along with people, so I would definitely say I'm a humanist, yeah.
But over and over again, I've heard people say the same thing that I said at the beginning. Oh, that's what I am. I didn't know what I was. I'm a humanist. And my late wife, Donna Marxer, used to say, a secular humanist is an atheist with good manners.
I like that.
And that works pretty well.
You got your kids and grandkids, you got your extended family and friends. What do you think are the basic takeaways that you would want them to have from you in your life and what you've done?
Without question, the most important thing I've learned from all of my military experience is the importance of treating every single person you meet, regardless of who they are, where they're from, with the basic human dignity they deserve. Doesn't matter if they're a junior enlisted soldier or a four-star general, race, ethnicity, man, woman, every single person you meet deserves that basic human dignity. And you know, some people just aren't very nice, but they are deserving of basic human dignity. And I feel that sometimes that's lost, and I think it's easy to lose that if you look at it through the prism of humanism. It's a lot easier to arrive at that conclusion, that treat everybody as they deserve to be treated.
As you know, I consider myself, and I still consider myself, a secular-humanist. But when it came to actual crisis in my life, like, you know, a divorce or my father dying or changing career, all of which happened at the same time, actually, as it turns out, you know, the same year, I found that, to my surprise, I have to say, I found that secular-humanism wasn't very helpful. We don't really have, in our society, we don't practice moral education.
American culture is that, well, that morality is up to each individual person. You're not going to tell somebody what that morality or that ethic is. You know, that's up for them to decide.
And the Stoics would say that's a fatal mistake.
What are those humanistic values that you look at and want to promote and let people know that these are humanistic values? This is how we look at the world.
What I tend to try to look at as values are just being good for the sake of being good, do unto others, you know, just try to treat people the way you want to be treated, but also to treat people accordingly. Meaning that as good as you would want to be, it is also important for us to look at things with a critical lens and realize when you can and when you cannot help certain people, and that it doesn't have to drain you. It doesn't have to, you don't have to feel bad when you cannot help someone. We try to help people to help themselves.
And people can find out those basic tenets of the Humanist Manifesto, which is part of the American Humanist Association, so they can look that up themselves and see for that for themselves. You know, you've seen this over and over again all the time, that religion's trying to get an exception for this, get an exception for that.
There has been a lack of appreciation of the value of separation of church and state at a national level. And so there's been a major effort on the basis of many religious conservatives to influence politics. Our current president decided he wanted to eliminate the Johnson Amendment, which essentially means people who are religious, who have a church, can collect and spend money freely. So essentially it would make every church in America a political action committee. That kind of thing is truly dangerous, and it's dangerous not only to the state and to people who are humanists, but it's also dangerous, I think, to the churches, in that it takes them away from their fundamental role in education and ethical teaching. I think it's also dangerous in that it essentially creates an entanglement between the church and the state, where once the church is getting money from a government, then they have to start following government policies. And I think it's much better for those things to be kept separate.
And at the end of the day, that's part of what life is about. You know, sometimes people who are religious will say to me, well, what's your purpose in life? And it's like, well, basically to make myself a better person and to make the world a better place.
Yeah.
In the tiny little increments that I can do it. And that's a purpose. And you know, I don't need to be religious or believe in God in order to feel that that's my purpose, and that's pretty much everybody's purpose, I think.